Well, anyway, we probably start now. And if anyone joins, he or she is very welcome. Good. So, decision making. It looks simple. It should look simple because we make decisions hundreds of times a day. So this is a process which should be very well known to us. But still, there are many things that we do not understand, and there's much to reflect on and a lot of things to research. So decision-making research is a really dynamic thing now. Okay, let's start with a few basics on decision-making. And after we have discussed some basic things, we will do an activity on decision-making. If there are more students, you will do it in a group of students. If no, me and you will do this together. It's just a very handy tool that can really help when you face a situation of decision-making. So we will do this. I know that you have the textbook and you definitely can read the text. What I want to do and to encourage you to do today is to use some tools of decision-making. Well, let's first start with my presentation. I will share this screen. Yeah, this is my presentation. Excuse me. Okay. Excuse me. So decision-making is a process. And very often we do not differentiate between decision-making and problem-solving, but there is a difference. Decision-making is the process of making a choice between alternatives. You have a number of options and you make a choice. This is decision-making. While problem-solving is a process of generating alternative solution to a recognized problem. So decision-making in this definition looks like the next step after problem solving. By the way, this phrase recognized problem is important as well, because to make a good decision, you need to understand the problem. And this is very often not there. The problem might seem vague, ambiguous, and actually the first step when you, for example, when my MBA students start working on their master thesis, is to describe a problem situation, to give a complete description of a situation to understand what problem they're going to solve. Well, there may be two groups of decisions. The first group looks simple. And these are decisions that we do hundreds of times a day without thinking. These are decisions that are repetitive, routine, and there is a definite way to handle these situations. While non-programmed decisions, they are to be taken when the situation is new, when the decision is novel, and when there is no clear procedure on how to handle a problem. Now my example about Zoom. So, logging to Zoom and starting a conference should be a programmed decision. because there is a definite procedure to do this, and I've done this many times before. And it's not any stress at all if it works as a program decision. Today, due to some unknown reason, I could not log into Zoom, and all of a sudden, the decision became non-programmed because I didn't know how to enter Zoom. The password didn't work. Due to some reason, Zoom did not remember my login. I use several accounts, so it offered me to use the account for MBA students, and I didn't want this. So non-programmed decision takes time, thinking, and it may be a bit of stress, like it was today. So this is what happens when a program decisions all of a sudden becomes non-programmed. One more thing, program decisions do not require any time, on thinking, on preparation. It's clear what, when, and how to do. But non-program decision requires time, preparation, and I should have started logging into Zoom 2 hours ago, not half hour ago as I did today. Well, let's look at the examples. The time of problem. Well, for programmed and for non-programmed decision. Well, routine and frequent problem, when you know the outcomes of your actions in program decisions. Uncertainty regarding cause and effect relationship for non-program decision. For program decisions, there are rules and policies and definite procedures, while for non-program, creativity is needed, intuition, and you should have tolerance for ambiguity. As an example, for a production unit, periodic reordering of inventory, a program decision. Sometimes you have just only click on enter with a list of products you want to order. When a company is thinking or is taking a decision to diversify into new markets or new products, this is a non-programmed decision. Even if the company took this decision before, even if it did a number of times before, still every time it's non-programmed decision because markets are different. Situation is changing. You do not know all the specifics. So this cannot be program decision. Employees in state companies, in governmental companies are very often promoted based on merit system. This is a program decision. For example, in Belarusian, army, for example, in the military, employee is promoted every 4 years of service. There's no much thinking if he or she did not do something horrible. While reorganizing of an agency or a company is a non-program decision. I don't know if you have this in your university, but in my university, there is a grade point average for good academic standing. 4 is maximum. And if a student has 1.2, 1.4, he or she needs to retake some courses and pass exams better to get a degree. And this is just goes without saying, without analyzing. While reconstruction of a classroom, although it does not look like a very big thing, it's still a non-program decision. Another typology is differentiation between best decisions and satisfactory decision. Well, best decision is a solution produced with complete information and in adequate time to resolve a well-defined problem. Satisfactory decision, it's a temporary solution or partial solution taken with limited information in limited time, very often to resolve an ill-defined problem. So although you can often hear this is the best decision, it's a phrase because in most cases, it's just a satisfactory decision. Very rarely we have necessary conditions for best decision. Well, there are a number of models of decision making, and myself and you probably use all of them, depending on the situation. While I'm describing them, please try to relate them to your decision-making process or to the decision-making process in the company. Well, decision-making theory started with rational models or the so-called classical models. Actually, they are prescribing models, so how managers should make decisions. And a rational model is based on the assumptions that we make logical decisions and managers act in the best interest of the company. So the assumptions of the classical model are not realistic because the first assumption is that there is complete information, no uncertainty. Realistic? Not really. That managers are capable of logical and unemotional analysis. Yes, we are capable of logical analysis, but it just from time to time. In most cases, we are influenced by our emotions. Assumption that managers act and want to get best decision for the organization. There's always some personal part to decisions, and CEOs might think, well, this is the best for organization. Is it really the best for myself as a CEO? So there are second thoughts. These are rational models. And they are prescribing how we should make decisions. When the researchers looked at the decision-making process, observed it and analyzed, they were aware that rational decision-making is not always there, and sometimes it's even is not often there. So there came the so-called non-rational decision-making models. They are describing. So these models actually describe how decisions are actually made, and the decision-making situation is seen as uncertain. Decisions are made under the conditions of risks, and because of this, it's difficult for managers to make optimum decisions. So the non-rational models, 5 non-rational models, are satisficing, incremental, coalitional, garbage can, intuitional. Yeah, here it will be better without the animation. So, satisficing model says that managers seek alternatives until they find one that is satisfactory, not necessarily optimal. So search for decisions goes until a satisfactory decision is found. Actually, this satisficing model was developed quite a time ago, in the 50s of the 20th century, by Nobel Prize winning economist Herbert Simon. So managers seek alternatives only until they find one that looks satisfactory, rather than seeking for optimal decisions. Incremental model holds that managers make the smallest possible response just to reduce a problem to at least some tolerable level. They make small short-term steps to make the situation easier, to make it tolerable. And managers make decisions without processing a great deal of information. Actually, incremental strategies are sometimes quite effective, but in the short run, not in the long run. Well, in coalitional model, managers come into groups that favor different options, different alternatives. The groups negotiate, the groups bargain and compromise on some particular problem. Well, garbage can model, managers virtually make random decision. So garbage can model is done in definitely non-programmed decision, and it is often used in the absence of some solid strategic management, and it can lead to really severe problems. Well, intuitive model, a manager makes a decision based on his gut feeling, on his experience or practice, very often without, actually not often, but usually without rational analysis. There's interesting research on intuitive decision making, and a few good books. I will write the titles in the chat, which shows that intuitive decision making was underappreciated for a long time, but actually many of the big decisions by big managers are often done based on their intuition. Do you know what was the first free email service? I think it was Hotmail. And it was a startup by a guy with some Indian name, and it started growing very quickly, and a big company, I think it was Microsoft company, decided to buy it. So the situation developed like this. So they came with an offer. I don't remember the exact amount, say $500,000. And he, the owner of the company, said no. Microsoft was mad. Someone says no. But after a few weeks, they came again and they offered $1 million. And he said no. They left again, bumped the door. After a month, they came again. And I think at that time that was about $50 million. And the owner of the company later said, that was the scariest decision in my life, because I was offered a huge amount of money, but still my gut feeling told me that it's not the ceiling. They can make it more. So this is the way how intuitive decisions work. We have one more students. Good. Now we have good morning. You missed an interesting example, but you will not miss an interesting framework to work with. So up to now, we have discussed classical and non-classical model of decision making. The second. And again, going back to rational decision making, we need to understand that because of complexity of situations, because there are always some constraints, it can be time constraints or money constraints, then all of us have different cognitive capacity, we have different values, we have different skills, habits, and even our unconscious reflexes, something that we do without thinking. These are different, but they have impact on decision making. Information is imperfect in most cases. Nowadays, very often we have this information overload, which makes it impossible to select the most relevant information. We may have different priorities and conflicting gales. So all this makes a rational decision-making process, although it looks good, but very often it's unrealistic, and we cannot do this. Now let's look at the decision-making process that you can use actually in developing some decisions that you need to take. You can do it with your team, or with your group, when thinking of a decision that needs to be done by your unit or by your company. First, you start with establishing specific goals, measurable. Specific means that they should be clear, not just, well, we should do our best in increasing sales. It's not a specific goal. And you need to think how you are going to measure the results, how you are going to understand where you are on this way to your goal. Are you halfway? Are you 70%? And for this, you need some measures. We need to increase sales by 10%. This is measurable. Then problem identification and definition. This is not an easy thing to do. So this needs discussion, because very often we may perceive symptoms as a problem. So we may identify a problem in terms of symptoms. If I say, for example, our problem is 10% drop in sales, is this a problem? Drop in sales, it's a symptom of some problem. And you need to identify the problem, why we have this drop in sales. In itself, it's not a problem, it's a symptom. Next step, you consider the causes, why this problem is happening. Market changes, I'm talking of drop in sales. Or something wrong with a product, something wrong with people, our marketing doesn't work properly. You consider all causes. Next step, you, after having identified the list of causes, you develop a number of solutions. Then you evaluate every solution. You develop some criteria for evaluating solutions. If we talk of managerial decisions, one of the criteria is cost of a solution. A solution may be really good, but the cost may be very high and prohibiting. So you cannot take this solution because of its costs. Another criteria that CEOs and heads of departments often think about, sometimes even without putting it into words, but it's there in their minds. Well, what is the impact of this and that solution? What is the message that I will send to employees of the company? And is this the right message or not? I can remind you of the case, well-known case with Coca-Cola company, when they developed a new product named New Coke, invested a lot of money. All focus groups showed that the product will be a success in the market, but the product was a failure. It's an interesting case, so I advise you read this case, read the situation. So the product did not sell, and the company did not continue the agreement with the manager who was responsible for the project. They fired him because the product was a failure and the project did not bring good results. But sometime later, the companies understood that the message that people in the company received was not a good one. So the company's management often said, well, we encourage you to be creative. We want you to take initiative. Please offer your ideas and we will try to implement them. But by firing the manager, the message was, you can take initiative, but if you fail, you will be fired. Is it the right message? No. And the company, after having realized this, tried to bring that project manager back to the company. So they offered him a good salary, good working conditions, and persuaded him to come back, to return to Coca-Cola. So this is about evaluation of solution of impact. Next step is to implement. the decision and follow up to see how what are the results, the expected results or something different. Well, very often we see that solutions do not work the way we want them to work. Then don't get really upset about this. Give it more time. Sometimes time is needed, or you can change it slightly, the solution. If it doesn't work, try another alternative and start over again. Our decision-making process is based on our perceptions. And very often there are perceptual problems with identifying the problem situation. As I said, we may define the problem in terms of solution, or we may identify symptoms as problems. And this may lead to wrong decisions. So every time management of the company faces a number of solutions to be taken, a number of decisions. And decision-making process, when there are a number of issues, needs to be based on priorities. And prioritizing depends on urgency. This is about time. How critical is the time pressure? Impact of the problem is taken into consideration. How serious are the consequences of the problem? And growth tendency. If we do not solve this problem now, how will it impact the future? Let's say you have a problem situation. There are two of your employees stuck in the elevator somewhere between 5th and 6th floor. And you need to decide what kind of, printer you are going to purchase for your office. Which problem will you solve first? Of course, printer. It's something important. I'm kidding. No, the problem with employees stuck in the elevator, it's an urgent problem. Time is critical here. That's why, and besides, the impact is serious. So they are there. They are not in the office. They do not work. So this is a priority. Definitely, this is a priority. Well, what are the conditions under which managers and all of us make decisions? There are three possible conditions. First is certainty. It happens when the decision maker has complete knowledge about the situation and the probability of the outcome of each alternative. You know that if you do alternative 1, you have this result, alternative 2, this result, alternative 3, that result. This is one condition. Second kind of condition is uncertainty. Decision maker has no knowledge about the probability of the outcome of each alternative. If you take this, well, this or this may happen, I'm not sure. If I take this alternative again, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And the situation of risks, condition of risk. I have some probabilistic estimate of the outcome of each alternative. I can somehow estimate the probable outcome of each alternative. Now, looking at this, please write in the chat, write in the chat, which is the most common condition for decision making? Is it certainty, uncertainty, or risk? Just type in one word in the chat. What is the conditions, the most often situation for making decisions for managers? Is it certainty condition, uncertainty condition, or risk? We have one decision. Let's see. Uncertainty. Thank you, Esther. Thank you. Our second student is thinking about his or her response. By the way, I don't know if this is a male name or female name. Could you please explain? Because it's not easy to understand the names in different cultures and different languages. In my language, I will know if it's a male or female student. In other languages, no. Okay, good. Now let's, while another decision is being made, and then I will come back to this. Let's move further with my presentation. So there are many influences on decision-making process. One of the strong influences are the values of the decision maker. So an alternative may look good and rational and logical, but the decision maker can say, it doesn't feel right. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. Sometimes he or she is not even aware that it's because of values. But values are the core of our personality. And if we make decisions that do not agree with our values, we feel bad and we try to use other alternatives. You know, it's a fun example, but still to illustrate the impact of value. So I, while driving home from my office yesterday, I thought, well, I need to buy something in the shop nearby, a few things. But I don't have my shopping bag with me. And then I thought, I'd better not go to shop, because although I need those things, I don't have my shopping bag. Doesn't look rational, yeah, because there are plastic bags everywhere. But I don't like plastic, and I try to avoid it as much as possible. And I made this decision because of my values. Propensity for risks. This is about how comfortable, or rather how uncomfortable, a person is with risky decisions. If you did some questionnaires on your personality, you may know more about whether you are comfortable with risks, or you are risk averse. You are trying to avoid the risks. And this definitely impacts your decisions. I have two sons. All of them are in their 40s. And my younger son, I think he doesn't know at all what a risk is. And he can easily go with a highly risky decision, and he can easily choose the alternative with the highest risk because of his personality. Others will never do this because risk is uncomfortable. They prefer other alternatives. Potential for dissonance. It's how we are going to evaluate the taken decisions later. Are we going to regret? Will the decision create this uneasiness that other solutions would have worked better? And another thing that impacts decision-making is escalation of commitment. Very often, we continue a course of action because we have invested some time and effort into this alternative, and although it does not really work and others see it, we still continue trying to make it work because we are committed to it. So these are behavioral impacts on our decision-making process. Back to values. Actually, our values are involved in all steps of decision-making process. Establishing objectives. We have values here. Developing alternatives again. Choosing an alternative. Then implementing a decision and evaluating the decision, monitoring when corrective action is needed. Values are involved everywhere in the decision-making process. And if you are clear about your own values, the decision-making process is more straightforward for you on the one hand, and on the other hand, your decisions are perceived as logical and reasonable and congruent by people around you. They can understand and even predict of what alternative will you choose if you make your choices based on your values. And this brings trust and confidence to you. Well, yeah, the potential for dissonance is higher when the decision is an important one, either financially or psychologically. Again, when there are a number of alternatives, potential for dissonance grows. And when the other alternatives have many favorable features, so again, we start thinking, was that the right solution that I chose? We start having this psychological uneasiness. Psychological uneasiness is something that people always try to avoid, and these are the methods used to reduce dissonance. We seek for information that supports the wisdom of our decision. Or people may perceive information selectively, just choosing that information that supports the decision. You may re-evaluate other alternatives, looking at them as less favorable. Or you can emphasize and exaggerate positive aspects of the decision that you made and minimize the negative aspects of the decision. Yeah, as I said, escalation of the commitment is the tendency to persist in ineffective course of action when there's evidence that the project or the alternative cannot succeed. Just a second, I'm thinking. Probably we will discuss now just the advantages of group decision making, and then we will make a break and take some practical model after the break. So group decision making has both advantages and disadvantages. There's more information and knowledge because it's not one person. More alternatives are likely to be generated because there's not one person, there are other people as well. That's why I was not happy in the previous class when I had just Esther as my only student. She can generate her own alternatives, but if we had other students, there could be more solutions to the case. If there is a group discussion, the final decision is more likely to be accepted because it's not the decision that you, as a manager, imposed on myself. It's the decision that we all, as a group, took. And quality of decision can be higher because of the previous one, more alternatives, more information. But the disadvantages is that group decision making takes time. Very often in some crisis situation, there's no time for discussion. A group can put pressure on those who do not agree, or a person can start self-censoring, thinking, well, I have another alternative, but they're not going to like it. Probably I keep quiet, then the group is happy and there is harmony and we all agree. One person who is assertive, a dominant, may dominate the group, and the others will accept the solution even though they're not happy with this. And a groupthink may occur. A groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that really makes really harmful for decision-making process. We will talk a little bit about this in the topic on groups and teams. So let's see where individual and group decisions are better. So in establishing goals, groups are probably superior to individuals. Again, in identifying causes, in generating alternatives, a group works better. In evaluating alternative solution, the group seems superior to an individual. But in solution, in this deciding on a solution, a group may opt for a riskier decision because it seems, it feels strong. We are many. We can not go with safe decision. We can do a risky decision. Implementation of decisions, follow-up is usually accomplished by individuals. There should be individual responsibility for accomplishing a decision. Okay, I think probably this one as well. So group decision is preferred when it can increase quality of the decision, when you need acceptance and it will increase acceptance of the decision, and a group decision increases development. So people feel valued and they listening to others, evaluating decisions, yeah, they are developing. So this is good about decision making in groups. So now it's time from theory to practice. And Esther knows, because she has been in all of my classes, that the way from theory to practice is quite short in my class. I will explain very quickly one of the tools for decision making. And then we will practice. We will try to use it, apply to a situation in an organization. Just a few words. Let me share the screen. Yeah. Well, what do you see here? You see rocks, and what's this? Something that is left from a fish, the bones. So the model is named fish bone analysis. It was developed a long time ago by a Japanese management scholar. I think he was an engineer by education. If you think of problems that Japanese managers are much concerned with, what kind of problem do you think, and what do we value in Japanese products? Any guesses? Well, yep, fishbone. Thank you. Japanese products are known for high quality. In Russian language and in Belarus, most of us speak Russian. So in Russian language, when we say Japanese, we mean high quality. I don't know how it is perceived in your cultures, but in our culture, yes. By the way, an interesting observation for you. You know, in this part of the world, Russia and Belarus, well, when I'm in Russia, so sometimes I see just big block letters written, a product from Belarus, produced in Belarus. And this again stands for high quality, because some of Belarusian products are really of much better quality than Russian products. This mainly concerns food products like milk products, meat products, because in Belarus we still have those, how do you say it in English? Some standards that are followed by every company producing, say, milk products. And they are strictly observed. Those standard rules that come from the Soviet Union still. In Russia, many of them have been cancelled, disregarded, and as a result, a company can make cheaper products using cheaper ingredients and of lower quality. And Belarus is high quality. Good. So fishbone analysis. Actually, it's not a tool for decision making, but it's a very good tool for analyzing the situation. And as we have discussed above, a good solution can be made when a problem is clear, when we can clearly understand what problem we are going to solve. When is this fishbone analysis used? Well, it's a group decision. By the way, you can use it as an individual decision, yeah, but it's better used in groups. So, and it is used when the team needs to analyze the problem and to identify the root cause, the very, very, very core cause for the problem. It is used when we want to study all possible reasons why a process is having difficulties or there are some breakdowns, and we need to know all possible reasons. It is used when we need to identify areas for collecting data, collecting information. And when the task is to study why a process is not performing properly or why we are not having expected results. So many situations when this tool is really handy. How do we create a fishbone? So, well, first, of course, you need to, to do this like this. Here you have the problem. Then the next step, you list all the possible problems or reasons that can lead to this problem. Then you classify, you label each bone. And you can use the 3M typology, thinking of methods, machines, materials, manpower, measurement, or you can use the 4 Ps, place, procedure, people, policies. Another variant of 4 Ps, surroundings, suppliers, systems, skills. I will help you with this if you haven't used this before. So you need to continuously ask yourself, why is this happening? Trying to generate more reasons. Yeah. And then you look at the fishbone and decide which group of factors you are going to deal with. Let's choose a problem that we are going to work with. Well, all of us work in organizations, so all of us are more or less familiar with such as problems as high employee turnover. This is a problem we are going to analyze using fishbone analysis. I want to give you an example of why this problem is so very important. And very often it's underappreciated by top management. It's the top management does not think it's that important. People come and people go. What's the issue if there's labor market? A few years ago, one of my MBA students decided to choose this as a topic for her master thesis. A high employee turnover in the company. When I asked, why do you want to do this? She said, well, my management does not think it's a problem. And when I tell them that it is a problem, they would answer, well, it's not a big deal. We have good salaries. We have a nice office. So if one person leaves, another comes, maybe even a better person joins the company. And she said, but I think there is a problem, but I don't know how to make the management see it. So we decided to calculate the cost of turnover. And we had a formula that takes into consideration search for new employee, retraining, time when the person is not fully productive, because the job is quite new. The formula took into consideration even some hidden costs. For example, if a person leaves, some part of information may leave with him, together with him, and it can be harmful to the company. So when she calculated the cost of turnover using that formula, it turned out that the cost of turnover, employee turnover for 1 year was $80,000, $80,000. So when she presented this amount to her management, they said, well, we see that it's costly. We need to do something with this. So she developed a plan how to decrease turnover. This is what you are going to do now. So let's go for the first step. And I don't know, probably no need to send you to session rooms, although I can. Or maybe you will be more comfortable in a session room. So the first step, you need to write down, well, at least 10 reasons, better 15 reasons why people are leaving the company. The rule here is not to criticize, not to judge. Just make a list of all problems, even those that might seem not realistic, or everything that comes to your mind. Just a second. I send a note to one of you, and I need, yeah. And then after you are done with the list, I will join you, and we will discuss how to group the reasons. So the instrument for identifying all possible causes is brainstorming. Just write down everything that comes to your mind. Oh my, I did something, yeah. Just a second, yeah, good. So the task is clear. You go to session rooms, and if I have them, just a second. Where are my session rooms? Doc. Here. Esther, I see that you were alone in this session room, so that's why I closed down the session rooms, and let's see what you have. How many reasons, Esther, do you have on the list?
I just simply write down around 8.
Good. Can you name just them for me?
Okay. Lack of appreciation from a company or manager. Imbalance, meaning don't have work-life balance.
Yep.
Then unstable company, maybe the company itself, it's not good, and people would like to leave before the company closed down. And hazardous working environment, because I do encounter some of the feedback from my friends that some of the gases that the company is doing production, so it's hazardous, so they want to avoid those unhealthy working environment. And lower salary. Then a better job prospect for new company, meaning lack of growth in current company. And bad boss.
Sorry? Bad boss. Oh, definitely. This is one of the Very common reasons.
So that's all what I have. Yeah.
Okay, good beginning. So I am typing just a second in the chat, and you will see if this can be the case. Well, when the work is routine, monotonous, not giving any challenge or development, this can happen. We need to think about some external reasons as well. For example, location of the company. If it's located outside the city and driving, commuting takes a lot of time. Yeah. What else? This can be the case. Status. Some jobs are do not give this feeling that they are important. There's no career development. Yeah, then it can be the case. I will put it like this. Yep. What else? Is there anything else? Did you said better jobs in some other company?
I think it's career, more or less, is the career advancement. Yeah.
Or if other companies offer good job or better salary, I think you have this. Better jobs. Work-life balance. You mentioned this. What else can be there? Well, very often there's a problem with, you said salary, low salary, or reward system is not actually clear, or is not perceived as a fair, just one. For example, you think that you do a good job and the other person does a worse job, but he or she is rewarded better because he is a friend of a boss or a relative of a boss. Often happens in many cultures. So reward system. What else can be there on the list? Let me think. Well, the job itself, if it's routine. I think you mentioned this, if the company is not doing well in the market. We all like to be part of a successful company, and successful company attracts employees. Nobody wants to work for a company that is perceived as a bad company, as a failure. So company's success in the market and good performance is, or bad performance in this case, is a reason for employees to quit. Good. Let's then see. I will share the screen again, and we need somehow to classify what we said, to group them, to make clusters of reasons that are of the same character. And these reasons will be, these clusters will be bones of our fishbone. So let's see which of these we can use. Maybe not this one. Well, actually, Esther, you can use which one? This, any of the, well, materials not here. Any of the models here. Let's do this one. And please write letter P. No, here we have 4 letters P. That's why you need to write whether the problem, the cause relates to people or to policies or to procedures or to technology. So write the word next to every reason. Yeah. For example, bad boss, well, it may relate to people, or you can have the group related to management of the company. Well, like better jobs in other companies. Let's do it together. So could you please name one of the reasons, and we will try to classify it. Well, bad boss, it's management, right?
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Let's have it or management.
Okay, management.
People,
yeah. Okay.
People or management. Then better jobs in other companies. What can we do here? It can be surrounding. Surrounding. It can be surrounding. How about routine job, repetitive job? What can we use here?
Is it procedure?
Procedure. It can be procedure or technology. It doesn't matter. Procedure or technology. Yeah. Then we had, well, reward system.
Policy.
It's policies. Policies in the company. Yeah. Policies in the company. What else do we have on the list?
Location. Just now you mentioned.
Location. It can be surroundings. It's more outside reasons, not inside the company, but outside. Other companies are located downtown, and this is location, surroundings.
And the salary is also maybe policy.
Yeah, you may call it policy. Yeah, policy. Not clear rules, not clear standards for rewarding. Or sometimes you don't have to have exactly people, policies, plans, and procedures. I just wanted to give you this as an idea. When I do this with my MBA students, they just group all the similar reasons together, like salary, unclear rules, what else related to no clear goals, and then can name this as management. There may be reasons related to the management of the company. So you can find the name for the cluster yourself. You don't have to use these, but you can also use these as well. Just if you have something related to skills or surroundings, you can use this word. Or this is for 6M, something related to, by the way, there may be all kinds of personal reasons, yeah, for leaving the company. Well, as an example, personal reasons. By the way, a question to you. You know, this year and previous year was very tough for many Belarusian companies because of sanctions. Belarus is now under sanctions. Although I don't understand what bad we did, and I don't see anything, but well, this is the decision of made by some countries. So sanctions. And MBA students, quite a few of them had to leave the country because their companies could not operate. You know, money cannot be sent to companies here. Our companies cannot pay for buying raw materials abroad because of sanctions. So what do you think? This factor, yeah, that we have here, where does it belong? Which of the reasons? How would you name it? Sanctions. Where would you locate it?
Is it surrounding?
Surroundings, yeah, it looks like surroundings, or you can use the word environment, yeah, surroundings. Yeah. Another example that I wanted to give this example to man or people, personal reasons. You know, some companies in Belarus, well, I think maybe in your country as well, hire mainly women and mainly younger women, and turnover is quite high because they marry or they have a baby and they cannot work any longer. So this is the reason related to people, because of the specifics of the country, of a company. For example, those companies that small companies producing clothes, yeah, not many men work there, but mainly women, and a high percentage of young women. So this may be a reason. Some family reasons come up. So this can relate to people or to men. Esther, do you work for a large company? What is...
I used to work in a German company before.
I cannot hear you clearly. What is the major reason for people to leave your company? What do you think? Even if turnover is not high, but what is the core reason when a person leaves your company?
Several factors.
Okay,
it depends. Maybe the job market is very hot. I mean, in the surrounding, because whenever there is a new startup in the same industrial area, so people tend to have job hopping to get better salary or better career advancement.
Right. One reason, a good reason, yeah.
And then the other might be also, yeah, due to bosses. They are not happy with the boss or management, then they opt to leave the company.
Okay, good. Now we have the feeling how this can be, the analysis can be done. Let's look at this one. So just I want to have it full screen. So here's the problem: employee turnover was the reasons were analyzed and grouped. There are personal reasons like family situation, desire to learn new skills. There may be a reason unrealistic employee expectations, although I wouldn't have it as a separate reason. It's related to management, because it's the management task to make expectations clear so that employee do not leave. It can be part of other reasons. Job characteristics such as challenge or danger or for work environment, as you said, economy or environment, surroundings, availability of better paying jobs, performance of the company. If a company performance is poor, it's a reason. And related to leadership, to having shared goals, reward system. Here it's named as organizational culture. Although now that I have discussed the reasons with Esther, I understand that I don't like this example. Me and you could have made a better analysis, because, for example, what we see in organizational culture, it's not just culture, it's wider. I would have put a different name here. I would have not used this realistic employee expectations. I will work on this. Thank you, Esther, for helping me to understand that this is not really very accurate. But let's see some other example. What I want you to see some other things that you can add to your fishbone analysis. Here's a problem. People are unable to complete project work. And here we have 4 groups of factors: materials, man, method, and environment. And you see the bones are of different lengths. This is long, this is short, and there are some side bones attached to a core reason. So this is more exact. Let me see if I have another example. No, I don't have another example. So if you are doing a fishbone analysis for some of problems, then you should know that the lengths of bones can be different. More strong cores should have a longer bone. So the strength of the cores can be reflected in the length of bones. This is one thing. And second thing, you can have these, smaller bones, yeah. Like in method, for example, we have, well, there are too many projects and smaller bones, lack of coordination among departments. This is a bone I often have in my MBA program. Good to remember. So by the end of the term, students start complaining that they are overloaded with projects because teachers plan a project in such a way that the project presentation is due end of semester. And Belarusian students, I don't know about students in your culture, but students in my culture, they tend to postpone till the time that is very close to deadline. And this results in the situation that at the end of the term, they have 3 or 4 projects to be finalized and presented within 2 weeks. And this is a lot of work and a lot of stress. So one of the reasons here that lead to them being unable and complete project work on time is that there are too many projects and there's lack of coordination between different subjects. Some projects should be presented mid of the term and others at the end of the term. Otherwise, it leads to a problem. So, and then after you have done this analysis, yeah, this is a good start for choosing an alternative, choosing a solution. You look at those problems that you can deal with. For example, as a rule, there's little you can do with surroundings. Sanctions are there. What can I do about this? Nothing. There are better jobs in the market, and again, there's little I can do about this. So you look and find the reason that you can work with and start working on this reason. If it's organizational analysis, there's always a reason related to management, to revising a reward system. You should analyze leadership of the company and whether employees have confidence and trust in their leadership. Are the goals clear? Are the goals linked to rewards or not? So you choose one bone and start working on this. And think what other bones can be worked on, and then add something more. But this is good analysis of the situation. So if you have this picture, if you have a fishbone of your problem, the potential for making a mistake is decreasing, is decreasing. For example, you may start working on, I don't know, on the location of the company and relocate it to a better place, and this is costly. But then you see turnover is still high. Why? Because the core reason was bad boss. And relocation does not solve this. Besides, it's costly. So this gives you a clear picture of the whole situation. A really handy tool to use while preparing for decision making. Good. So we are done with this.